Hello friends, this is your friend back with a new fanfic, A Forbidden Bond in the Snow, Part 1. If you like this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's start. Chapter 1. Naruto staring up at Haku home, which was a big wealthy house, a big yard he can see and wooden yard. He makes his way to the front brown door and knocks, who waited for an answer. The door opened when Naruto noticed Haku was at her front door, wearing a pink shirt above his stomach and a pink skirt to reveal his feminine curves. He grins at Naruto, placing his right hand against his thick hips. "Hey, precious, come in." Haku smiled seductively. Naruto jaw dropped seeing the sis in clothes, his eyes widened seeing Haku invited him inside. He focused on the sis' exposed stomach and stared at her perfect and he was ogling her thick legs. Whoa, the sis is hot. Naruto thought, with his face growing redder than an apple, as he saw Haku had bright light red lipstick on her face, her eyes were smiling at him. "Hey, I don't mind you are staring at me, but come on in before some old man pig sees me almost naked." Naruto finds himself dragged through the empty Haku home. "Nice home sis." "Thanks," Haku said by walking with shaking hip, and Naruto eyes can't exactly stay away from Haku's stunning body. He finds himself looking at Haku backside, that she exposed through her pink shirt, and her big bubble butt shake that is wiggling back and forth when she draws him along, her home as he examined the sis home. Just as he expected, it was a wealthy home with a big kitchen opening up to the living room. Mats could barely count a dozen. In the living facing the TV, there was a lone ashtray sitting on the square table. At the kitchen were several dishes still waiting to be washed when he still stared at sis' body. He could feel himself getting hard, which was new. Again he always did find girls attractive, and his hormones were starting to rise higher. "Your parents aren't home, sis." He gulped hard while still looking at Haku booty. Haku swivels to look back at the blonde boy, giving off a nice view of her bouncing tits, who stops. "No, they're on a trip for the weekend. It's just you and me here." Naruto nodded at her words, seeing Haku making her way over to her couch, where she snatches up the phone she'd left lying there. She just sent a text to her friend, then look over at Naruto who meet him in the woods today by giving the blonde his address. Naruto once again stares at Haku's body, and he swallows hard, looking at the girl sitting down on her couch and calling out to him. "How are you feeling after I saw you unconscious in the woods?" Finding himself embarrassed, Naruto walks over to her. "I'm fine, thanks for asking," he said. A few minutes from now, the two teens were talking in the living room filled with bags of ramen. Naruto was eating and he was glad he met a pretty girl. Naruto thought Haku looked incredibly, her big cleavage grabbed his attention like a fly to a hurricane. "What's the matter? You're under the weather." Haku's eyes narrowed. There was a change in her tone that made her intention slightly more worry. The blonde mouth swung open and closed before he could gather all his talking. I know we just meet. Don't take this the wrong way sis, but you look hot sis." Haku smirked and moved over to him more, her eyes never breaking away from his. She smiled sweetly at his cute face. "Why Naruto are you hitting on me? We just meet." Haku grins at him. "Ah, sis, I was just," his voice tried off his from embarrassment. He stumbled while he glimpsed at the sis' legs. "Come on, I'm just messing with you, precious," Haku said, clinging to his arms, giving him a firm rub, making him blush. The pretty saw Naruto looking was at legs. There's no way he couldn't. With how short the skirt is, spreading out. Haku looked down at the skirt spread out more, sitting close to him. Then felt his bulge hitting him, and Haku's body grew hot, just like his naked body glistening. "Hey, precious, let's have fun since you're better." "I'm with you, sis. I'm in the mood for video games," Naruto said. "How about we dance instead?" Haku straightened her back and got off her couch. Naruto thought he was a girl but he didn't want to ruin the moment as Haku continued to let Naruto calling her a girl and play along. "I feel like dancing." Haku made her way over the opposite side of her living room, turning on her music box. Naruto watched Haku dance. The blonde continued to watch Haku dance to a slower song, which he saw her shake her hip. The music played through the house. Naruto was out of his seat and headed for Haku. "Come on, dance with me, my precious." Minutes later, Naruto saw Haku's arms around his neck, and he stared into Haku's beautiful eyes with his arms winded his way around Haku's waist and pulled her to him. Sis, maybe we should stop. The blonde mumbled. Shish, Haku responded, glancing back up at him with a smile. The fun is just getting started, she said, continue dance with me. Haku smiled as the pretty rested her face on his chest. Naruto is cute, Haku thought with a seductive smile, pulling Naruto down into a passionate kiss. Naruto was shocked that Haku was kissing him that he just met. The sis kisses feel good, so the blonde found himself kissing the sis back, pulling her as close as he could when the pretty started moving upstairs with her mouth still latched on his. Naruto let out a groan as he was roughly pressed against Haku's bedroom wall. All he could do was moan in Haku kisses. He harshly pressed his lips against hers, forcing his tongue inside her mouth, and he moved the hand resting on her raised leg further up. Naruto could only moan while Haku's arms wrapped around his head and moved toward her pink bed as they dropped. Letting out a growl and end the kiss. I'll be right back, precious. I'm going to slip into something more comfortable. Haku stood up and walked into bedroom bathroom. Listening to the bathroom door close, Naruto let out a deep sigh. He could not believe Haku kissed him. He had liked it, and he wondering what Haku's next moves were. As he lay comfortable on the cis pink sheeted soft bed, waiting, Naruto pulled out his phone from his front pocket and turned it off. Knowing Sakura will probably call up a mission sometime later, he was busy and didn't need any calls from Sakura. Haku's bathroom door opening drew his awareness, and what he saw caused his jaw to drop. There, framed in the doorway, was Haku, completely naked. His face was a full-on blush, his jaw almost touched the floor. He focused on Haku's naked body and stared at her perfect then, he saw some oil-clear cream drip down her body that brightened on her. The blonde has never seen a naked girl before besides Tsunade, which Tsunade doesn't count because Tsunade is his granny. He just stared at Haku's nakedness. Haku was stunning in his form. Who he has big that he was on hormones and his body is thick like a girl, he even had long black hair. His body even looked like a girl but he was born a boy but, let's just say he's a futa who want to be a girl full-time soon. Haku placed a hand on her hip and stuck out her big, walking over to Naruto by leaning forward against her outstretched bed foot just a tad bit to pose for him. Haku was glad Naruto was having the time of his life who was feeling better as he watched Haku cup her delicious tits shake in front of him while turning the pretty body around with each whip of his fine, big in Naruto face. Haku swore the blonde, blue eyes were going to fall out of his face while he watched his massive melons, tits, and butt shake as Haku glanced back at him and squeezed big butt with a hand, who also opened the wet hole to Naruto. Holy crap, Naruto said. I know I've got it going on, precious. Haku said playfully, finishing the little show teaser walking over to him. Haku spread out his knees on either side of his legs before lowering himself. His naked arms snaked around his shoulders as Haku smirked at Naruto seductively. Naruto reached out and massaged the sis with both hands. Naruto, since you love my body so much, what do you say you and I get a little more intimate right now? Oh, I don't know sis, Naruto said. This doesn't feel right, we just meet sis. I don't care we just meet I'm a fast girl. I want a piece of your now. Haku slowly stroked his eager shaft with her lips and opened her mouth, and stretched out her tongue, and Naruto did the same before accepting it in the sis mouth. They began making out again on Haku's room's bed. Haku hummed into his lips as he continued to rub her tits and tug at her nipples. While they made out, Haku grabbed hold of Naruto's shirt and began pulling it up. They broke the kiss for a brief moment as she pulled the shirt up and over his head, which proceeded to join on Haku's floor nearby. Haku held his cheek in hungry and lashed his tongue across his mouth aggressive tongue. While Haku gave a soft whimper when the blonde poorly pulled on her nipples before letting them go, he chuckled as the sis moaned and grew hungrier for his mouth. Get out of those pants now. Haku mumbles between kisses. Naruto wasted no time. In a sudden motion, he tore the remnants of his pants away before removing what was left of his pants as well to reveal white boxers that dropped on the floor by his shirt. Haku smiled happily and broke their lip off, eyes glazed over with both excitement and uncertainty upon seeing Naruto think close for the first time, that the pretty never had such a big before which he always had small. Naruto is big for the most man I did in the past. He's huge. Haku thought, with the pretty eyes went wide. Hey, you look mighty impressed sis, Naruto chuckled. The pretty nodded and started taking slow licks across his from the base up to his tip. It was just so big. The pretty couldn't help but lick it all over and admire how thick it was. His tongue curled around his made his head swirl as he had licked his way all over his shaft, covering his entire with spit. Haku met his eyes and face hearing Naruto moan as he parted his lips and wrapped it around the head. Naruto tensed up, balling his hands into a tight fist as he bathed in the incredible sensation for the first time. Naruto was in pleasure, looking at Haku. Pace continued to go faster, bobbing her head and hitting her own throat with his big and he grit his teeth. His hand was snaking its way to the back of the sis head and latching onto her long black hair. "Oh, I'm coming out, sis," he said. When Haku heard that, the pretty knew what Naruto meant as a white, creamy load shot right through his and straight down his throat, all the way down to his stomach. Haku could feel every pulse of Naruto come as it continued to pump into his mouth as Haku swallowed Naruto hot thick load, with his face was still buried into his crotch. Naruto pulled out of her. Another shot managed to escape and land on her face, the trail of white cum running down the rest of her big. Haku scooped the rest up after tasting it and then swallowed the rest in her mouth. Naruto was panting hard while watching the sis, obviously in stun at what he was seeing. "God tell me you didn't eat my cum goo, sis, that was so nasty." "It tastes good, but are you just going to talk?" the pretty said. "Or are we going to start?" "Well, your eating my was a surprise, sis, but I've never gone all the way with a girl before, sis," he said, looking at Haku with his blue eyes. "Don't worry. It's not my first time, precious. Trust me. It will feel good soon, like when it's not hard to have, just stick it in me." Haku big propped up and ready while Naruto settled behind the sis. Eventually, Haku felt his hand land on top of his beak as he aligned his with the pretty butt. The pretty fingers curled against the sheets as the pretty entire body tensed up. Haku looked back but couldn't see his rod any longer as he guided it towards his wet hole. In moments, Naruto tip parted her lips and shoved its way inside. Haku whimpered as soon as the pretty felt Naruto tool in him, glistening wet stretched his open. The next morning came when Naruto woke up, looking around to see a wooden bedroom with food and juice cans on the floor, with white cum cover all over his body. Naruto was confused on why he was in another person room with juice cans on the floor and he smells. Then he looked down to a pretty girl, completely naked with her long black hair ran down her naked back. Her long black hair was a mess, and hair in his chest and her naked arms wrap around him in tight hug. Feeling the sis hand laid his head against his chest. "I didn't," he thought, trying to remember. "I slept with sis," he thought, and saw a naked Haku who was up smirking. Looking at Haku rolled over him by touching his lean chest. "Morning, handsome, I had fun last night," Haku said, rolling over on her, his back stretching his arms and legs as Haku big bounce. Naruto looked over at the girl, then his blue eyes landed on the sis. The sis has a with big. I thought she was a woman. "What's going on?" he thought. Sis, just out a question, what happened last night? And why you have a like a boy, but you have big with a big butt, they look like a girl too." Haku blinked, sitting up on his back hitting the headboard, showing his thick naked body, and he looked down at his girly thighs where his lay on. "Naruto, I forget to tell you. I'm not a girl fully, I'm Futa." Haku grinned watching Naruto blink and he let out a scream. "Ah, I've screwed a Futa, that's a boy. Oh, Haku is prettier than Sasuke, what have I done?" Naruto screamed. To be continued. What do you think so far? I made Haku a Futa girl. Chapter 2. Naruto freak out. Naruto was in Haku's house, still freaking out. Though he had to admit it was terrific, Haku is a Futa and slept with a Futa boy, that a half girl with AWHEN. His blue eyes adjusted to the light in Haku's room. "Naruto, stop please, it's not the end of the world, my previous." A voice spoke, and Naruto's head spun round towards the voice, spotting none other than as a Futa Haku. His jaw dropped and he remembered from last night that flooded into his mind. "Ah, I've slept with a Futa who is pretty than Sakura." "Hey, calm down, I look better than most of the women in the village, stop freaking, okay? You enjoy me, cutie," Haku said with an almost laugh. "Well, I did aired, who thought you was a pretty girl and all." He tried to relax as he moved to sit on the chair. "And I am a Futa, I'm not a full girl yet, but I have some girl parts like in a big butt, where you can feel even better with me. I look like a girl with a girl body who is beautiful. The being great, even I'm a Futa. From what I saw last night, you like having with me." He squinted his eyes, almost surveying his every move. Well, I really can't do this anymore. I've made a mistake. He quickly rose to his feet, glancing towards the exit of his bedroom. Haku sighed to himself, and he pushed himself off the bed, rolling her eyes. This ninja would not deny me from this. Haku thought, walking towards Naruto, swaying his girly hips from side to side to catch his attention, looking at him with a seductive gaze. Naruto, relax, forget about freaking out on I'm a feuda. The villager doesn't have to know about us, we can have a secret relationship and you did enjoy me when you wasn't me. He said the last part very flirty, almost commanding. He placed his fingers against Naruto's naked chest, pushing the ninja towards the wall. Staring into his blue eyes, Naruto repeatedly told himself the pretty was right, as some little memory joined his mind, feeling good having with Haku as he remember from last night. Flashback. Yes. Haku slurred, bouncing on him as he delved into his bouncing hips, squeezing them while nibbling the nipple, teasing it with his tongue. Haku impaled himself hard, twitching from her orgasm, feeling Naruto inside of his butt, Haku fingers digging into Naruto's sensitive skin, his mouth leaving hot, wet kisses all over his body. When the feuda drove deeper into ninja, the feuda body fell forward against the bed. Now Haku were really wet and he moved faster against that one spot, brushing up against it with the length of Naruto's shaft, as Naruto now were smiling at the wonderful and here he moaning from the pleasurable. He enjoyed from the sis. It was nearly hot. It feels too wonderful. Naruto said it over again, feeling Haku's body was moving up and down on his, who turned red from the wonderful delicious the blonde boy is having. He heard Haku cried out, the sis' black long hair was a mess. Haku's face was flushing red, the sis' eyes glazed and unable to focus on anything. Haku's eyes could only stare at him. Haku's hot tongue lolled out of her lips with her big butt moving big, so good. It feel good sis. Naruto goes a little deeper into Haku's butt gently. When it's fully inside of Haku, when he'd thought Haku is a girl, he slowly pumps in and out, glides hissing and out of Haku's wet hole. Naruto, more, The feuda gasped with her mouth open, eyes rolling back. At this point, Haku continued to moan louder and louder, with her big butt bouncing hard on Naruto and her long black hair move in the air. Face too amazing. Haku's sweat came over his hot girly form body, sweat landed on her big, yes, my girl butt feel good, I'm riding you harder the feuda yell. Like that sis, keep riding me good. Naruto grinned, smacking the feuda girl big butt that move in slow motion with sweat drops down off the sis butt that landed on his naked hips. The ninja saw Haku went faster when his blue eyes saw the sis went up and down at a fast pace. Haku slid back up to the tip of Hi's sand, then plunged himself back down. He within a matter of bounces as he speed up to the point his big butt began to bounce faster. Oh yes, he moaned. So good. Haku's sweater back arched, strangled another cry. He immediately sped up, riding Naruto. Big sweet moans filling the bedroom, and he took Naruto into his big butt over and over again, with slapping sound was heard in his room. Oh, Haku mewled, both his girly hands fumbling for Naruto's chest. I'm about to. He tightened and tightened, strangling Naruto as the sis moans reaching a higher pitch. With a cute cry, Haku hit his climax, and Naruto hips buckled upwards with a gasp and ropes of cum spurted up into Haku, each thick rope hitting his inner walls, making Haku melt with an orgasmic moan. The feuda kept rolling his hips. The girls was breathing hard when she slumped against the blonde boy chest, long black hair fall on his naked shoulders and back. Haku were completely exhausted. The sis didn't move or say a word for several moments, only panting from orgasm. The next thing, Haku kissed Naruto with his girly pink lips push against his own in a rough passionate kiss. Haku's beautiful naked skin body touched the ninja chest still as he lost himself in a moan into Naruto wet lip. The was good and Haku Izho look like a girl but a feuda. He'd lost his virginity to Haku last night, that is a hot tranny girl. The blonde had the best pleasure in his years for the first time with a feuda that is very attractive. His heart began to race fast when he felt his back hit the wall. Haku forcefully pinned his hands to the wall. There was nowhere left to look at Haku's beautiful eyes and nice-looking body that had a big butt. Bigton his blue eyes traveled down before stopping. He found himself staring intensely into Haku's pretty face and girl body naked parts, in which he thought the pretty feuda with ice kind of hot. Unable to break eye contact at the pretty person in front of him, Haku was so beautiful as a feuda tranny. Haku is attractive for tranny Futa that look like a girl, he can't keep his eyes off Haku. Maybe Haku is right, they can have a secret relationship, he's sleeping with a Futa. He felt Haku's gorgeous lips push against his own in a rough passionate kiss. Haku's naked body touched his chest, pinning him to the wall. Before he could stop Haku, his blue eyes closed tight as he lost himself in a moan into Haku's wet lips. A couple weeks later, in the Konoha Ninja Academy, school was filled with students. Naruto friends was worried of his odd behavior. The ninja class were discussing his new attitude. For almost a month now, Naruto had most definitely not been himself. Recently the seal blonde ninja had been happy. He had been distracted during class. Naruto spent all his time daydreaming and not coming on to Sakura. According to all the rumors around school, Naruto had been almost blushing every day, the smile he had on face was glowing. If Sakura noticed the change in Naruto's behavior, some would say that Naruto had changed. But the real reason Naruto changed because was glowing a lot. For almost a month now, Naruto had most definitely not been himself. Recently he had been happy. The ninja had been distracted during class. He spent all his time texting someone on his phone mystery. According to all the rumors around school, there was a new rumor going around school that Naruto wasn't coming on to her anymore. Everyone was saying how Naruto may got someone else because they can tell from his glowing face like he got laid. Sakura, there is seriously something up with the brat. He's not himself, Tsunade told Sakura in a not-so-quiet voice. Have you heard the rumors? Tsunade asked as she reached the pink-headed girl. I heard Naruto been acting weird and very annoying recently. Sakura replied. Naruto is not himself in class, Haruka told me so. Tsunade flat out told her as she looked at Sakura who nodded. I can tell. Sakura trailed off, both her and Tsunade glanced in Naruto's way when the ninja came into view. Usually Naruto could be found wearing his orange and black jumpsuit. Today he wore a tight orange-fitting sleeve shirt, a black jacket of Kumo. Then on his legs was tight black pants. Naruto glowing after another round off from Haku. The Haku told him to stop freaking out and have fun with a Futa, so he did. The feel of Haku's lips and naked body on his felt too great. He took him to pleasure by giving him the best blowjob ever with hot for hours. The blonde entered the building when he saw Tsunade and Sakura taking. Both girls was gorgeous with skin as he looked over at Sakura that he used to have a crush on, but now he's over her because he got a new Futa girlfriend named Haku. The seal redirected his attention to the two girls at their lockers. Smiling, he approached them. Hello Granny, he said brightly, how are you doing today? He very clearly addressed only Tsunade, ignoring his old crush and avoiding her gaze because they've been fighting of his weird behavior lately, and Sakura wanted to know what he's been doing lately. She can tell he's keeping a secret from her, and Naruto have not been training with her lately after school. Tsunade just smiled back, oh I'm doing just fine. Right Sakura. Tsunade smoothly included Sakura in the conversation, hit her harshly in the elbow, prompting the pink-haired girl to say hello to her friend. Yeah, we're fine, Sakura spoke to Naruto, looking at him briefly. So, you want to hit remand shop after school? Naruto's smile faded slightly, one hand slid behind his neck. Sorry Sakura. I have to clean my room tonight, not in the mood for noodles tonight. Sakura caught the nervousness in his tone, eyed him with dangerous eyes. She didn't believe his excuse for a second. Naruto. She shouted in frustration, what on is going on with you? I don't like this You're been not yourself, you been acting more weird and annoying lately. What happened to you? And why do I smell perfume on you? Did you have a girlfriend? She growled at him. Naruto waved his hands in front of himself defensively. No way Sakura, I don't have a girlfriend. He lied. Listen, how about tomorrow, we can hang out all day after school, alright? His tone went from angry to almost pleading, come on Sakura, you know I don't like when we fight. Naruto, we've been fighting because you've been so secretive lately, even to me. I don't like it. Sakura folded her arms across her chest and frowned at him. The ninja looked rather upset himself. When he spoke his voice was softer. Sakura, look, I don't have a girlfriend, it's just I'm been busy lately, and the reason I have perfume on me is that Ino hugged me when I was walking into school. Ino is worried of me also, it's Ino perfume. He told her with another lie. Tsunade, who'd been watching the argument silently. The bell rang telling everyone to get to class. Tsunade and Sakura left quickly toward their classroom. Naruto sighed in relief. The first bell rang, finding Naruto was bored of the lecture and was staring off into space. Naruto, pay attention, Kakashi told the blonde boy. Old man, class is boring, Naruto answered with a grin, putting his hand behind his head. Naruto, my class is not a playing field, we're here to learn. I don't know what you been up to lately that make you not to pay attention, but you'd better focus. I'd hate to have to give you detention. Kakashi spoke sharply at Naruto. Most of the class turned to look at the blonde boy, which was Sasuke and Ino, Tenten, Sakura, Hinata frowning at his new behavior. After school in training, Kakashi looked at Naruto being unfocused. Naruto was not paying attention to busy looking at his phone. Naruto been looking at a naked pictures of Haku. He been staring at Hakuin for a long time as Haku posing on his pink bed being naked who hold hi sand lick his big. Then the next pic was Haku in a doggy styled position with juice running out the sis butt, Haku in a pink crop top next that show the sis expose arms in. Kakashi watched as Sasuke flipped Naruto over his shoulder, kicking him hard in the stomach. Naruto groaned from pain and looked at Sasuke. Sasuke charged again, throwing a punch and grabbed his wrist and threw him away. Naruto landed with a loud smack on the ground. Kakashi shaking his head in disappointment at Naruto. The fight was over the second Sasuke won. I won Dobi, said Sasuke. So what Sasuke, said Naruto, painfully holding at his jaw. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke, declared Kakashi. The class was shocked. Sasuke had beaten the Uzumaki, the seal Uzumaki. Naruto, are you alright? Yelled Sakura. I'm fine Sakura, said Naruto. You been unfocused Naruto. What's going on with you? Yelled Sakura. You been on that phone non-stop. Naruto raised an eyebrow at Sakura, before reaching to pick up his phone who closed the pic of a naked Haku. Everyone tensed at Sakura outburst. I told you earlier Sakura. Yelled Naruto, making everyone flinch, even Kakashi. What's on that phone? Sakura yelled. Naruto didn't answer Sakura. Naruto, yelled Sakura. Still Naruto didn't answer, because Sakura didn't need to know he's looking at a pic of a naked Futa Haku. Naruto, I swear if you don't respond back, I will slap you, yelled Sakura. Again, Naruto didn't answer her. Naruto, listen to me when I talk you. Huh, you say something Sakura? Asked Naruto, looking questionably at her, responding only when he heard his name again. At this, everyone looking at him and Sakura fighting again. You two enough. Now training has ended, said Kakashi. At this, everyone left again. Sakura marched up to Naruto, furious. I don't know what's going on with you but I don't like this side, said Sakura, snarling. Nothing going on with me Sakura, Naruto grinned looking at her. Sakura was right up close to Naruto's face. Damn it, give me that phone, what are you hiding from me? Yelled Sakura. You not getting my phone, I got to go, have fun at the Remand shop. Naruto replied who walked from Sakura. Afternoon around 6 p.m. in Haku house after school. Naruto made his way to Haku home and stepped onto the wooden porch. He took a moment to enjoy the crystal blue sky up in the cloud. School had been hell for him with Sakura giving him a mean look after he trained. He lets himself into Haku home and closes the door, as the blonde strode inside the house into the living room. Haku home dwelled mainly of wooden walls, a wood tile on the floors. Then his blue eyes saw a lot of bottles on his furniture with a TV set and sofa. He was not surprised, knowing Haku was here. Naruto calls out to Haku. I'm in my room my precious, Haku answered, indicating that the sis was upstairs in his room, which contains stairs, a bedroom, and a bathroom set. The blonde steps into the bedroom and sees Haku sitting on his bed, wearing a pink crop top showing his exposed arms and legs as he got up from the bed. He approached him without hesitation. He felt Haku shoving him against the wall roughly before he mashed Naruto's lips against his. This feel nice, his head stopped working for a second, the feel of Haku lips on his knocking all the thoughts out of his head. Haku was a fantastic kisser and good after a moment, he allowed himself to sink into the kiss. Haku wrapped his hands around his neck and pulled him closer to the blonde body, the pretty Futa pink crop top open a little showing a frilly pink bra that big pop out. He finally ended the kiss as he smiled into Naruto's face. Naruto hungry eyes rake over that delicious-looking body. Look at those girlies' legs, and that tight big butt. Then he noticed through Haku's pink crop top. Showed Haku exposed skin on his stomach, arms nicely, not to mention the sis had no pants on that saw naked legs. Hands rise up and rest against his body as he wrapped his arms around his girly waist. Naruto's face flushed shades of red. "Hey, my pretty," he said. "You like my pink crop top?" Haku smiled seductively, making him blush more. "It looks good on you, Haku. And I got your naked pic on my phone when I was training." He chalked. Haku, despite himself, blushed slightly at his comment. He was so cute as Haku grinned at him. The pretty Fuda touched his body, and he whispered into his ear, I send it to you, now what's for dinner tonight my precious since you're staying at my house?" Haku said by licking his boyfriend's ear with tongue, sliding it down to Naruto's earlobe. Naruto moaned. "How about I made some ramen noodles soup with white chicken and rice, Haku?" "Sounds good, Naruto." Haku replied, feeling Naruto cup his big butt in both hands. Haku responded with a moan. "You want dessert after our meal, Haku?" Naruto acknowledged a smile. Yes, but I already see dessert first." Haku smirked, touching the ninja started to push Naruto's pants off. Then his pants as his clothes fell to the floor. Naruto spun his new Fuda tranny girlfriend around with Haku back hitting his hips. In a fast movement, Naruto roughly took the hem of Haku's pink thong, yanking it down. Haku smirked, hearing a clank of Naruto boxer coming undone. The fly went lowered, and Naruto bent into Haku naked beauty's backside, cupping both of his hands, squeezing them through Haku's pink bra, as he next spreading Haku nicely girl legs apart. Naruto removed Haku's thong as highs entered his sis wet butthole. "Yes," Haku moaned a yell, "don't stop." To be continued. What do you think so far? Tell me your thoughts and please review. Should I call Haku a Fuda or tranny? Also, is it wrong to like a femboy or a tranny, Fuda? Because I think I'm attracted to them. Chapter 3. First date with Haku. In downtown village. The restaurant was packed with people, also it was crowded in the dance floor, where people dancing or eating, music playing, a bar inside with black and red spotlights placed in up a ceiling sparkle, couple of men and women order drink. Haku entered the restaurant who greeted a woman at a host stand when he saw and man walked up to her by giving a wink, eyeing her from head to toe before leaving causing him to roll his eyes as he addressed the host. "Hi, I'm Haku, my friend booked a table, he's already here. Should be under Naruto." Haku adjusted her small shorts, as the lady hostess looked at a paper in front of her. "Ah, yes Haku-san, follow me Naruto is waiting." She smiled and headed inside in the dimly lit place. This restaurant was nice, and certainly not what she'd been expecting when Naruto had invited her out for dinner. It was their first date, since last night she and Naruto, in all morning to before the ninja boy going back to school. Haku spotted her secret boyfriend sitting at a table, pulling at his tie looking handsome. She had looked good of course. The Fuda wears a see-through green robe very short top. It was several sizes too small around the chest. Her nipples out, on her lower body part, she had on a very mini shorts, showed off his nice shaped legs and big Fuda girl. He's swaying side to side while walking, and some of guys were staring at him, looking at his glorious behind. Their eyes gravitated at the pretty Fuda legs and big who they thought he was a hot woman but thought wrong he's a Fuda. The shorts swirling around his body when the man stares up, giving them an excellent view of big butt jiggled, as his long black hair moves from back and forth between his back and their dates slap them in the head. Now Naruto blue eyes laned on Haku. He stood so quickly who almost knocked his chair over for almost fainting at his boyfriend clothes. He smiled cute at the Fuda. "Hi, wow you look pretty," he said. "Hi, thank you Naruto." Haku grinned looking at Naruto pulled out a chair for him and then sat back in his own. He plastered on a smile for waiter as the host handed the menu. "Would you like to order drinks now, or do you need a couple of minutes folks?" The waitress asked. "Do you have some soup juice on the list?" Naruto asked her, and Haku gave him a questioning look. "Haku I'm kidding." He added quickly. "Obviously Naruto." The pretty Fuda rolls her eyes but smirk. "I have a lemonade. I go with some wine my previous lady." Haku wink. "Right away." The waitress nodded. Once they'd ordered their drinks and Haku smiled at Naruto from across the table. He could tell he'd made a real effort for tonight and he saw he was nervous. He was shaking his left hand and he wanted to ask him to stop but he felt mean. They knew the risk of going out tonight and if someone sees them from his school they will be super busted. He cleaned his mind and body to heal. Just then, their drinks arrived, and spent the next several minutes talking. So, Naruto began after taking a nervous sip of juice, "How have you been lately?" Haku couldn't help but smile at the formality of his tone. "Naruto, we saw each other last night, you know how I've been lately." Haku winked at him seductively. "So relax, just talk to me like a normal person in public." He laughed at this. "I'm sorry, I know, I'm just trying to be your friend tonight since it's our first date." He whispers. "'Cause someone made noise here from our village or my school students might recognize me." He jumps. "Naruto," Haku paused. "I'm happy to have dinner with you but nobody will find out we are hanging together. I appreciate the effort you've made but please stop, and I know it's our first date, it'd be okay and be my cute boyfriend, have fun like the last time." Haku whisper. He held his hands up. I know, I'm my normal self now Haku." "Good," the Futa said softly, "now let's forget the serious stuff, let's try to enjoy ourselves, shall we?" He smiled fondly at him. "Cool sis." The waiter arrived again and asked what Naruto and Haku wants for dinner. Naruto order a soup and Haku order chicken. Now it was just the two of them, both more relaxed and the conversation was flowing nicely. Despite everything that had happened between them, their relationship is still a secret and nobody doesn't know about him dating Haku. The two teens chat away about everything and nothing, how he knows his Futa loves training and he loves going in the woods to gather stuff, they could always make each other laugh. Naruto also had a nasty habit of being a class clown when they made love which Naruto teased her to Haku. "While now you look pretty." Naruto grinned at a naked Futa girl that is Haku. "Hey thanks my precious," she said showing her. "Aw so big my pretty." Naruto flip Haku on all four. "Now my pretty you're going to ride me." Naruto slap Haku but in his girl form. "Oh yes, more." Haku yell loudly with a moan, his girl move. A few minutes later, Haku was riding Naruto with the ninja slapped Haku girl butt, bouncing and moving his hips against Naruto, crying out. This was a feeling he liked as he placed his hands on the Hakuthi pretty moan more. Naruto licked Haku and she move in Naruto flushed body, shining with sweat on his girl body. The Futa began to thrust down into him more, continuing to bounce and move down into the ninja. The movement was fast, and good. Her mind covered in a lusty, by the good, the blonde cried out Haku name with every thrust who hit his spot. More, oh yes, please, please. Haku eyes were rolling back. Naruto wrapped his hands around Haku thick thighs, touching the girl slowly to bring him in the pleasurable of Haku orgasm. He loved when Haku begged for him when they do it. Haku ride himself on his harder and faster than he could ever imagine himself doing. He felt so good, so close to orgasm with every thrust Naruto gave him. It simply felt amazing. The pretty threw his head back, moaning and screaming for more. "You're cute when you ride me Haku," the blonde moving his hips up and going deeper inside of Haku. "My pretty boyfriend or should I said cute Futa Haku." The pretty loved the dirty talk, too affected, ngh. "Oh yes." Haku screamed with him came closer and closer, the more noise the pretty made were loud. The Futa just needed a little more to send him over the edge. Naruto hold Haku tight and gave it a tight squeeze, hips pistoning up into the pretty one last time before the Futa spill his insides with his cum. The Futa groaned out as he was filled with Naruto cum. Feeling happy, the pretty waited a couple of moments before she pulled himself off of Naruto as she was laying on the bed naked out of breath. The ninja gazed at the pretty Futa with a pleading look in his blue eye. "That was too good." "I know," Haku purred, pulling him close and holding him, when he was pressing his lips to Haku. Haku kissed back, pulling their naked body together, their mouths still kissing, as Naruto grinned. "Now I'm not finished sis, I'm going to doggy-style you next." Wait Naruto. I'm tired from riding you." Naruto smirked when he flipped Haku over on all four with the Futa butt were in the air, and he gave Haku butt a slap. Haku chuckles at the memory and stare at his boyfriend cute face. Haku wanted to kiss him now and have with him again. After a few moments of awkward silence, their dinners arrived, and food being pushed around plates, They saw light were blinking, music rattling the area and bodies moving in a mess of arms and legs from people, some guests eats. The noise filled, clinking of glasses, laughter of conversations. Naruto couldn't stop looking at Haku's exposed skin and hearing people talking, having a good time. His secret Futa boy sat across him eating his food. The blonde boy thought Haku looked incredibly tonight. They talked a lot this evening while he saw people were rocking their hips, several songs play of beat music. While Naruto took this moment to look at Haku be grabbing his attention causing the people to not noticing them. Naruto, you not hungry anymore? Haku's eyes move and he had a sly smirk forming on her beautiful lips, hearing a song play out in the background. The blonde mouth swung open and closed before he could gather all his talking. Yeah. His voice tried off his from embarrassment. He stumbled while he glimpsed at Haku's legs. Haku smiled sweetly at his cute face and his shorts spread out more. He smirked at Naruto and glanced around at the restaurant. The music had changed, and this was the perfect time to flirt with his man now in the restaurant, people minding their own business. Haku pulled a chicken in his mouth seductive, licking it around his tongue, a meat ran out his mouth. Drops of little pieces of chicken and juices dripped down his neck and rolled down past his nipples. He's putting the chicken juice between his he can flirt back, by doing the same. Naruto grinned a thought. Sexy jutsu. Poof. He began to change into a girl his chakra. A large puff of smoke was created and when it cleared. Haku's attention was on the girl that was Naruto. The Futa look on. Oh Haku, you like hee my pretty. Naruto talk flipping her long blonde hair out her face as he put his hands on his big that bounce. Haku looked at Naruto with jaw dropping. Oh ah. Haku fall off his chair. Lady, the floor is not a place to sit down. The waiter said, raising her eyebrow at the young pretty girl who looked at the girl bounced next. Wait, what happens to the cute blonde boy? She questioned. Oh he went out of a moment. Naruto talk in his girl voice. K, you two have a good time. She walk off. You're something else Naruto. Haku got up, watching her walk off as Naruto laughed and transformed back to normal. A few minutes later, they ended their meal with more flirting by Haku, and Naruto asked for the bill. I think we could do this again. The third time, I had fun going out. Haku winked at him and he shot the pretty boy a nice grin. The truth be told, Haku had enjoyed himself by going out with Naruto on a date. The past few months had been so tough by lying to his parents, and he found out Naruto have no parents also. They felt like they both deserved a bit of fun. Haku also did like flirting and teasing his Futa in public and so did Naruto. They paid their bills and walked out the crowded restaurant. Later 5:30 p.m. Naruto made a dessert of him and Haku who have come home from their restaurant and get some dessert, as the ninja made his sis a dessert who went to change out of his clothes. Ninja heard the bedroom door open, and Naruto eyes had stopped Haku body who had on different clothes on. Ooh, my precious, I'm done changing. Let's skip dessert and me, Haku teased in his feminine with his seductive sounding girl voice. Naruto jaw drop again. Haku was in a see-through lingerie, a pink and black bikini lingerie top that exposed her entire stomach. There weren't any sleeves to speak of, the sis' gorgeous arms were totally bare and stomach. Haku wearing a pink little skirt. Haku's big round butt can be seen when the skirt slides off. Also the lingerie showed Haku exposed skin on the sis' body more nicely and you can see Haku and legs as his long black hair ran down his back. Ah, Haku is prettier Sakura. I'm liking Haku more and more as a Futa girl. The sis looked good as a girl. The ninja thought who walk over to Haku. Wasted no time, and instantly the ninja kiss Haku lips with hand began to roam over Haku full, feminine. Near the kitchen coach. Naruto screamed of pleasure as Hakabody went down on his with a bang. Yes. He gave a moan at the pleasure. Truly one heck of a that made Haku feel great. Naruto was a great lover. The Futa was riding him hard again bouncing up and down on his sand her hands flat on the ninja chest as Haku continued to move his girl thick hips. Naruto was leaned back on the pillows, taking hold of Haku hips every now and then, sliding in and out of him perfectly. Haku couldn't keep quiet, pushed hips down onto his sand he stretched her aching butthole. Haku went faster, hearing the ninja groans. Haku leaned his whole weight into him, pushing down hard as he moved on top of him. The blonde stroke up and down Haku girl back slowly, touch Haku's stomach and chest. Cupping the sis pinched and brushed against his hard nipples with his fingers. Haku's slow a fast trust, leaning forward and gripping the headboard of the coach. The Fuda gritted teeth and let out a hiss, but then Naruto smiled at his pretty Fuda as his fingers grabs a fistful of Haku's black long hair, and pulled him down to him and pressed his mouth on Haku, his tongue pushing in between his lips. He moaned into the kiss, who kept rocking his hips. Naruto kept his hold in Haku's hair, but his left hand squeezed his Fuda girlfriend big cheek, making the sis purr into his mouth, then he slapped Haku girl. Yeah, just like that Naruto, spank lick my nipples. Make me feel good like always baby. Oh yeah my pretty princess. Naruto grinned slapping Haku. Why yes Naruto. The black hair Fuda moaned as the Fuda was bouncing on him like a crazy horny prey. The ninja smiled seeing his sis was riding him hard. He saw the coach continues to shook, his mind racing and the sweat pouring out and Haku was still riding on his cowgirl style. Gripping his sis hips hard, the clothes came off Haku's body, he flipped Haku over without leaving his body, and pushed the sis legs back to his chest as he started thrusting in and out of Haku roughly. Haku smirked when found himself suddenly on his back, his face and body sweating as the sis cried out at the change of position. Naruto felt much bigger, much stronger than before inside of him. Haku slowed to movements, rocking hips into him. Naruto brushed the sis' long black hair from his forehead, fingers digging into Haku girl form as he saw Haku move on his stomach. It felt good as the became hotter, his deep inside the sis while groaning loudly that he was coming. Haku felt his orgasm hitting and the both couple was screaming, just at the moment of thick cum floods the sis butthole. Yes my precious, keep hitting the spot, Haku screamed in pleasure. 15 minutes later. Oh yeah, that was so amazing, Haku said with a giggle, he and Naruto chest, the sis was sweating. After the hot session Naruto and Haku were laying down on the bed sweating. The sis was smiling like Naruto was cuddling around his long black hair and hold his big girl-like butt grinning at his secret lover. Holy crap, you were wonderful again my pretty princess, he said out of breath. I gotta say, baby, thanks and you turn me on with your huge and your cuteness you know how to please me. Haku giggle. Yeah, I know how to treat you my pretty. Naruto said with a smile. Makes me happy. Haku licked her lips and the blonde quickly turned Haku on all full who he gave his sis a slap on the butt his making Haku yelp, feeling Naruto put his inside him again. He smirked before turning out the lights and kiss Haku passionately, then he'd trust inside Haku more. To be continued. Thanks for reviewing and reading the story more to come. Chapter 4, Training, Out in Town. The morning sky was clear over Hidden Leaf, inside the room were two teens in bed. They made love last night for a long time. The pretty Fuda girl Haku welcomed her new man fully inside her again with desires of love sleeping together by on bed. Haku cuddled over Naruto with her head on his shoulder. Haku smiled at the memories of last night. The Fuda made love with Naruto after their date. The half-girl had satisfied him of love, it's been longest and best relationship she's ever had. Truly. It's been amazing. Naruto was such a romantic lover. To her, Naruto was just so hot. The Fuda would say she knew everything about him since meeting him. Then months from Naruto been with her, Haku saw him improve his training and master his skills, and still have enough energy to go out on dangerous missions in the village. When training Naruto would feel at calm and the best way to do that was through exercise, making him built like a god, give him muscles and a six-pack now. After the next months of insane, extreme, training, Naruto was doing great, he even mastered a training given to him and he was in pretty good shape. Naruto did basic use of martial arts forms, he also higher level of ninja fighting, along with chain-based weapons and his fox powers still comes and goes. All that intense training did wonders for him, then he told her about Sakura being mean to him who call him annoying at school. All Naruto could do was yell Sakura name as he was punch a dummy repeatedly. As time moved on Haku had started to develop more feelings for him. The Fuda was a boyfriend to him during his stay at her house. It started with her simply helping him heal from Sakura who wanted to see Naruto pictures on his phone when Haku gave her boyfriend naked pictures to him. Showing Heron Sakura had yelled at Naruto for it by slapping him in the face and that's when Haku didn't like Sakura. Naruto, let me be with you to help you heal by making love before our date night. Naruto blinked. What Sakura did to me was just the last straw, I can't show her my phone. The last straw, don't like Sakura be mean to you. The Fuda asked, concerned. Allow me to help you heal from Sakura. I am here for you, I'm better looking than Sakura, let's make more love. Haku grinned, making her robe fall off her body, her black hair sway a bit and her bounce along with. Now let's make love so you can forget about Sakura being mean to you. Her grin was on her face and she kissed him passionately. Haku remember yesterday when Naruto told her about Sakura before their first date night. She smiled by getting out of memory. The naked Fuda slowly turned to place a gentle kiss on her boyfriend Muscle's chest. Good morning, my precious, the Fuda greeted. Morning to you, my pretty, Naruto spoke back before his head leaned up a bit to place a kiss on her lip. He turned his head to read the clock on the desk, seeing it was nearly 8 a.m. We certainly had a good time last time after our date. We did, Haku said before moving her body right on top of his, and then she'd place a hand out to his chest, kisses his face. After all, you were wild on from last night, my precious. The Fuda purred seductively with her lips went to his neck for a few moments before raising her face to look directly down at her lover. We bonded perfectly. Yeah, I did, you doggy styled my pretty, beloved at Haku, the blonde teen agreed, eyes smirked as he saw Haku kiss his lips. You're my precious, she whispered before claiming his lips. Both took pleasure of others' lips. With tongues, and passion of desires. When they end the kiss, Haku and Naruto smiled with the ninja Fuda girl rested her forehead against his. They merely lay still at one another while her left hand came through his Muscle's body and she felt Naruto gently stroked her nude back in his hand, and her right. After a while of touching, Haku and Naruto began to make love again for minutes. It wasn't long until the sounds were heard from both lovers, growing louder in moans. The climax came over both at the same instant, the two teens both cried out in pleasure. Cries of joy with moans came from the two teens. When their release began, Haku collapsed on top of Naruto, both gasping for air. She was sweating and felt her lover hand running softly up and down her back again. Naruto grinned. Well, Haku, we did it again, you were worn out me Fuda girl, oh man I love pounding your creamy butt. Haku smirked and looked into her man grin face. Very much, I am, mornin' just the best, plus having with a Fuda that's me is supposed to be hot, she replied, in lust. I know, you show me how to do you in your butt. Naruto smirked before pulling her by the shoulders up to lock their lips together in a kiss. Afterward, the blonde gently moved her off him before leaving the bed. Now excuse me, I have to go wash up and use the bathroom, he explained and headed toward the bathroom. The black-haired teen licked her lips at Naruto's nude body walking away from her to use the bathroom and the Fuda heard the rush of water running. Haku hopped off the bed toward the bathroom to join Naruto in the shower. In the kitchen, Naruto couldn't help but grin across the table as the sight of Haku eating breakfast food. After their late morning lovemaking session, both had to take care of other each needs in the bathroom, and after that was taken care of, they both ended up taking a shower together. It was fun washing each other's bodies in the soothing, hot spray. However, their shower ended up into another round of lovemaking session. It was just after they had finished taking a long shower. Naruto's stomach growled shortly by Haku too. Both entered the kitchen room eating as the teens was fully dressed wearing clothes. Naruto wore an orange shirt and Haku in her green crop top outfit, short-sleeved, green crop shirt, very short, green skirt. The short skirt displayed her exposé legs. Still grinning, Naruto gazed at his Fuda eating eggs and he had to admit that Haku certainly was glowing still. Her long black hair was hanging loosely down the back. It was clear she showed all the signs of a woman of joy after having amazing. So for nearly 30 minutes, the young couple ate and talked before their training session started together. In the training yard in the woods. Naruto in the woods, a wooden bow staff resting on the ground at Naruto's side. To his credit, the blonde had gone through the morning eating breakfast with Haku and he wanted to see what Haku got in her training after coming home from school. From the corner of his eye, he sees Haku stepped into the woods, still dress her outfit in, only she carried a sheathed katana in her left hand. Without a word, she bowed to Naruto. Instantly the ninja Fuda propelled herself forward so fast that Naruto only avoided having his head as he threw himself sideways, blocking her movements and tried to prevent the blade of Haku's sword as she attacked from all angles. Naruto ducked a kick, then rolled backward as Haku dropped low with a sweep of her other leg. The blonde teen crouched down and tried to catch his breath only. Naruto took advantage of the distraction to step towards Haku, giving his spinning reverse kick all that more power as he drove his foot into her midsection, but Haku blocked it. As time went on, they met with punches, barely missed their marks. Elbows were deflected, kicks met with kicks. Their pace increased into sweetie bodies as they attacks. Naruto sent a jab at Haku's face, only to have her past it, then the world seemed to spin as a moment later. Haku had taken the opening with all her strength. She'd rammed her shoulder into his chest while grabbing the back of his GI with her other hand so she could slam him to the ground with all her hands. The ninja bounce. Haku drove a knee into the blonde ninja's chest, then slid up press against his throat, yield. The Fuda demanded quietly, her face smirk. Whoa, time out, I yield. Naruto agreed, and his breathing was far more critical than his bruised ego at the moment and surrendered. Quickly Haku rose and offered her hand to her boyfriend, smiling her victory. With a smile of his own, he accepted and stood. You're good Haku, believe it. Naruto replied. I've trained very hard and I have to be 100% fighting in the field. She bowed to him respectfully and he did the same as the two teens went out in town this afternoon. Naruto and Haku were out walking together in town hand in hand in town until theirs was interrupted as Haku heard a loud noise in the shadows by the street. What was that? She wondered. Reveal men came out of the shadows dressed in what appeared to be black gear, with their heads and faces covered by ski hoods. In their hands were what appeared to be assault with weapons. One of them walked up to him and placed the gun to his face. Hey, ninja boy, hand over all your money now. He ordered in a mean voice, as Naruto was shocked at what he just heard. He and Haku were having a good afternoon in the village. Never, he says. I'm going to ask you again, hand over all of your money and no one gets hurt. He threatened, seeing the blonde boy was protecting Haku. Naruto knew that Haku could take on these guys on by herself. Don't even think about being a brave kid. He warned. You don't wanna make me shoot ya, trust me. Maybe you leave soon if you don't ask for trouble. Naruto said. The man let out a laugh. No kid, but what do we have here? A pretty lady. He then eyed Haku, who was looking at him as she watched his two partners walked over to her. One of their eyes was down on her, while the other's was on her legs. The Fuda girl quickly covered herself and Naruto wasn't too happy. He was now glaring at the two men for checking out his Haku. Ooh, it looks like the ninja boy and the lady are going out. Maybe after I finish killing you, I'll have some fun with this cutie. How's about that, sugar? The thug man said to Haku, who just glared. Naruto is mine, the Fuda thought in her mind as his two thugs came closer at her close, for that matter. Leave Haku out of this. Naruto warned. Or what are you going to do? Hit me. He laughed evilly. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he felt his fox powers coming in. He allowed the fox power free reign of his state as he saw the man grabbed her from behind. Leave my pretty alone. He growled and he saw them hand her thigh, watching Haku try to fight back but the man had a tough grip on her. Or what? A hand reached under the green skirt, pulling it up a bit. Slowly revealing a pair of her panties and saw she had, much to the extreme discomfort of Haku, she slapped the hard as the man laughed at her. Oh guys, this isn't a lady, she's a guy with have. Really? One thug asked smiling. Yeah but it's still hot, sugar, we love Fuda in our town. You're even hotter that you want to be a girl. He said. Ditch this loser to be with me, my name is Zabuza. Naruto's anger was bulled up by Zabuza touching his pretty. However, the situation still stood. Naruto need to save his pretty and this time, Sasuke wasn't around to be by his side helping him, or saving him. It wasn't always about Sasuke. And that was just the way he liked it. Haku move. Naruto said watching the ninja Fuda girl kick Zabuza ribs and she pulled out what appeared to be shurikens from her purse who had to throw at him hitting his body. After the screams from Zabuza and the thugs, what followed was a series of punch and kicks from Naruto and Haku followed by the sound of weapons dropping on the floor. Also followed by the sound of bodies fall together. Shit no. One thug said. Ninja boy stop. Crap we sorry. Oof. Ow. My body. Aw. That's it you bitch. Haku had kicked him in the crotch. You're mine, tough guy. My neck. The body were on the floor being beaten up by Haku and Naruto. Zabuza looked at Haku with a glare. This isn't over Haku, I will have you. Not in your life Zabuza, Naruto is mine so leave. Haku replied angrily seeing Zabuza pull out his smoke bomb and disappearing in the smoke. Soon, the two teens left also out of the shadows as the policeman, having heard the thug attack form people. However, much to their shock, Thug's men collapsed over, falling face first to the ground were bloody. The men who was labeled as criminals of Land of Waves, knocked unconscious. Meanwhile, the people quickly look on in amazed as the police saying who did this. For the finest, pointed at the two teens and saw two teens kicking butt, a pretty girl threw some objects in the air to hit a thug. There was no evidence to summon what has happened. That is, until a man walked by. He gave one of the officers a digital camera with the picture he had managed to take. The officer looked at the screen, seeing a pretty black-haired girl throwing thugs around with a blonde ninja boy throwing a punch at the thug's man. Another agent man walked over to see what was on the camera. Unlike the others, who were all Japanese saw the picture, he blinked in stun. I know that boy, he said. The officer blinked. You do. That's Naruto. Kakashi student. For the finest, pointed at the two teens and saw two teens kicking butt, a pretty girl threw some objects in the air to hit a thug. There was no evidence to summon what has happened. And who's the girl Naruto with? He wondered with confused look came to his face. On the rooftop both teens watch on the police taking the thugs away as Yori turned to her man smiling. You save me my precious. Nobody puts a hand on my pretty but me, not Zabuza. He growls. Well how about a kiss for saving me? Her fingers rested lightly on his chest and gently grabbed Naruto's shirt then shoved him on the roof floor. He falls on his back when the ninja beauty got on top of him. Her fingers rested lightly on his chest, and given him a kiss the lips and Naruto kiss back with tongues, seeing Haku began by pulling off her green crop top shirt over her head. Tossing it to the floor. She smiled when she unclasping her bra, exclaimed. What's he doing in Japan, and who's the girl? He wondered with confused look came to his face. Ino ran in Sakura house. Can you believe it Sakura? Naruto saves the day. Naruto screamed, pointing to the newspaper. Ino don't come in my house without knocking. She growled at her rival and had gasp at the news, seeing her rival holding up a piece of paper. It appears to be an article from the News Worldwide website. Whatever, he is still Naruto. Sakura pouted. I mean the annoying Naruto actually done something cool, I give him credit for. But that does have to bring up a serious question. Who is the girl he's with? Ino replied looking at the girl wearing a green crop outfit with short green skirt when the news showed them of Haku and Naruto. That girl got it going on. A soft growl escaped Sakura mouth as the pink girl looked on who replied back in shock. Same I like to know, who is she? That girl is out of Naruto league. To be continued, thanks again for reading and reviewing my story please continue and have a good day. And that's it for part 1 of A Forbidden Bond in the Snow. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Naruto What If fanfics. Comment below what you think will happen when this secret relationship begins to affect Naruto's future. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.